Good morning, everyone. My name is Felix, and I'm the client partner that's from Meta. I specifically look at the retail and tech vertical, and today I'm very excited to share with you about the evolution of Omnichannel towards hybrid retail shopping. Let's begin. So take a moment to reflect right now. In just the 5 years, we've seen a massive shift of how consumers have been shopping, whether it's online and offline. All these new behaviors that's been cultivated pre and post pandemic has started to shift the way people make shopping decisions. And the power of discovery pretty much lies in hybrid shopping. So let's go through a back in memory lane and talk about how have we gotten here in terms of hybrid shopping. Take a look at 1900s. We used to look at brick and mortar era, where pretty much every business has a heavy influence and heavy presence of retail stores, from big box retailers to shopping malls. Pretty much every business had a physical presence. And in the early 2000s, people were looking at an omni-channel era. The rise of digital and mobile touch points, more and more people started to look at, hey, we need to prioritize our online presence. But there was more of an accessibility option, meaning that businesses are starting to say, hey, we don't have an online website, we should build an online website. We don't have an app presence, we should build an app presence. It was never a direct or seamless integration between all shopping channels. And then here we are where we are today, where shoppers no longer differentiate or distinctively choose whether it's online or offline, right? They can't differentiate, they don't really differentiate between the channels anymore. They look at it as merely an additional channel, and whichever channel provides the least amount of friction, they will pursue that channel to make their purchasing decisions. So for examples here, like in the region that's very relevant, a lot of mega day sales happen, and a lot of people, most shoppers, will prefer to make all their shopping decisions through online at these particular dates. But there are also a lot of instances and use cases where now that the markets are reopening again, people are out and about, they're going out for dinners, they're going out for movies, they're going out for more leisure activities. A lot of these offline shopping behaviors are starting to return back again, but they're never really determined by the fact that they're offline, therefore they're going to be shopping offline. More and more shoppers are pretty much savvy in both channels, and it's now about whichever channel presents the least amount of friction, which captures their attention. Right, so we're going to talk about this and what are the pillars that are most important to these consumers that allow us businesses to kind of take advantage and leverage those particular pillars. So let's start. One of the more interesting insights that we see is that 41% of shoppers, when they're being surveyed, prefer to mix online and in-store channels when they're shopping for products. Right? There's this gray area where people used to have this myth that online channels will drive online sales, and offline channels or offline marketing will drive offline sales. Nowadays, it's all about where is the consumer spending most of their time in, and whichever channel that presents the most amount of value, least amount of friction, will capture their attention. And this shopping journey, pretty much, even though it doesn't end with a purchase in online still plays a major part in driving that purchasing decision. So it pretty much has a lot of influence, whether it's pre-shopping decision, also and during the shopping decision. For example, like a lot of people would engage in web rooming, which is the process of making browsing online before buying in store, making their research, doing their comparisons. And some various times, which is also not all that uncommon, is that when they're in stores themselves, they'll be browsing online for more information, like to make comparisons whether this store presents the most amount of value, most amount of promos that's available to them. So the increase of this phenomenon called web rooming has actually doubled since 2020. So the pandemic has actually accelerated this whole web rooming phenomenon. So we should really, even though we might not particularly think that, hey, online might not particularly influence just offline purchasing decisions, but it actually influences a lot of the discovery phase as well. And what other part but social media that drives this discovery on online channels? 84% of shopper surveys have made at least one purchase in store after finding or discovering the item on social media. And it's a very natural process, right? We tend to know the essentials that we know. We tend to already know what we already have that intent to go and make that purchase already, whether it's online or offline. But a lot of the products, for example, like clothes, fashion, luxuries, anything under that one category, a lot of this is pretty much driven by discovery. Like, is there a new brand that's out there I've not known about? Is there a new type of product that's captured my eye? I'm sure we're all fallen victim to this from time and time again. Finding out that very, very special t-shirt, a very, very special shoe that we've absolutely no idea until it was brought to our attention from social media. A lot of this still drives our purchasing decision behavior, because they compel us to go visit that website. They compel us to go visit that store. So it's really important that that social media plays this part in the discovery channel. And specifically for Meta, we've seen that our e-commerce campaigns, influence hybrid shopping on a significant scale. Almost 44 in our study that's conducted by our channels, 41% of measured ads optimized for online conversions actually drove statistically significant in-store sales, just as early as Q1 this year. And 40% of that incremental ROAS was accounted for by in-store sales, which goes to tell you that a lot of your online campaigns has a massive uplift to your offline sales as well. And we'll talk a little bit about this in the later slides. So what does this new era of hybrid shopping mean for your business? In short, it's more important than ever to create connection from discovery to purchase, and what those pillars that constitute or help you have the best chance of success will be explored in the next slide itself. So it's really, really important that these 4 pillars are adopted, and we'll go through one by one, right? The first one is to be where people are. Finding your core audience and reaching new shoppers is an essential part of how we can reach out to new customers, retain our customers, and at the same time allows us to know who our core target demographic are. So with Meta, as of date, we have about 2.9 billion people that uses our services at least daily. In Malaysia, cumulatively for all these platforms, WhatsApp, Instagram, as well as Facebook, we are the north of 20 million active users from a daily active user standpoint, and from a monthly active user standpoint, it's even higher than that. So more than 1 in 2 people on Facebook, Instagram shoppers hybrid shop. What does hybrid shop means? They either shop online and or offline. And that shopper journey starts well before intent, right? Today's most successful marketers believes that the shopper journey starts well before intent. You don't no longer build catalogs for people to find products. Right? It's no longer the days where hey, I've got this massive amount of SKUs, 1,000 SKUs, and the more variety I have, the more appealing it is to consumers. That used to be the formula before. Nowadays, having a very curated, personalized, intent-specific catalog is more effective in converting that consumer. Meaning that instead of your people finding your products, you allow your products to find people. Right? That's a massive shift. And hybrid shopping discovery happens across all our Meta discovery platforms. Today, these are the personalized experiences that are uniquely enabled across our technologies. Some people prefer Facebook, some people prefer Instagram. Those are just preference and preference points. But if you're accessible and you're available across all our platforms, that means you have a higher chance of success to reach your target demographic at all times. Right, the second pillar is going to be leveraging the full suite of retail advertising products that allows you to be as personal as possible. Only serve products that shoppers will love. So here we're going to talk about personalization is the new expectation. No longer the days where that variety, like I talked about just now, the variety of products suffices. The more variety I have, the more appealing it is to consumers. Nowadays, you have to personalize it in the fact that you have to personalize at scale and make sure that every product is seen differently or is messaged differently to every different individual, right? And the insights back this up. Almost 48% of young shoppers want personalized product recommendations, right? And Meta helps create this personalized experience. So one of our key products that we have here is, and I'll talk about here, is we have dynamic ads. We have now recently launched Advantage Shopping Plus that allows your people to be matched specifically based on the signals they're getting when they engage with your online channels, right? So this is really important because at this day and age, all these signals are precious information that allows you to make the best decision in trying to send a message to your consumers, right? Whether it's a form of an ad, whether it's a form of a message, whether it's a form of a lead generation form, all of these things can only be better when it's furnished with the right signals, right? This can be app activity, web activity, in-store sales, or even CRMs, our first-party data. So all of these, coupled with the solutions that we have at hand, allows you to be as personal as possible to your consumers. So we'll talk about Advantage Plus catalog ads first. The best way to sum this solution up is that when you think about those ads that, after browsing, for example, I've browsed an ad that showed me this red Nike shoe. That's the last time I checked it out, but I'm not ready to make that purchase yet. So I'll go do other things. I go browse the internet, go browse my socials. And then, the next day, maybe the very next day, when I'm looking through Instagram and I'm served a Nike ad, the very SKU that I just recently browsed will be front and center. With price, messaging, the variant, the size, everything on that red Nike shoe will show up on my social, right? This is way more effective as compared to if you were to just see a generic Nike commercial. Yeah, definitely Nike will be able to track and measure that you've recently visited their website, but Advantage Plus catalog ads allows you to retarget people based on their last browsing behavior, which is as granular as the last SKU that they've seen. So I don't want to have to go through the website again and look specifically for that red Nike shoe. That's why dynamic ads is so powerful in doing this. It allows the user to be retargeted based on parameters that's been set by the advertiser to be as personalized as possible, right? So it helps you connect to the products you're most likely to love, no matter where they are in the journey, whether they are, very, very early on, they're still browsing and figuring out which brands they're going to be purchasing from. Maybe for example, as early as I just want to buy a shoe, right? To the point that I want to buy a shoe for running, right? And even further up to I want to buy a shoe for running that's in the price point of $195, something like that. So whatever that part of that journey the consumer is, dynamic ads, Advantage Plus catalog ads allows you to retarget anybody that falls within this umbrella. So that's why it's so powerful. So one of the case studies we have here is Fology. They want to explore that if adding Advantage Plus catalog ads will drive better results and increase sales. So he ran a normal conversion campaign and they split tested it with this Advantage Plus catalog ads. So the results here was that it not only drove positive online sales, but also has a significant impact on offline store sales as well. In fact, they saw a 2 times increase in offline ROI with Advantage Plus ads. So this was as recent as late last year in November. So this is still a very, very relevant case study. Right, the third part is to be relevant. Right, you might think to yourself hey, isn't be personal is almost the same as be relevant? I think for this one, it's more in tangent with using real-time data to reach the right audience at the right time, right? So how does this play into this? Is that if you think about dynamic ads, they're retargeting on a product level, right? If I looked at that red shoe as recent as the past 30 days, then I will be retargeted specifically with that red shoe. So that's what Advantage Plus will do. As for being relevant, you wanna make sure that all meta technologies, in this particular case, meta ad experiences influences that hybrid shopper journey. About 56% in product discovery and inspiration, and 70% have purchased a product in store after discovering it on meta technologies. And how this leads to it is that the top social media platforms that inspire this is Facebook and Instagram, right? Almost 67% are inspired to make a purchase, and almost 74% have made a direct purchase after discovering a product on both of these platforms. So what I mean by enable a relevancy that drives this hybrid shopping is it's exemplified by this product called digital circulars. So it allows you to showcase different products depending on the catalog as well as your physical location. So how this helps a lot of businesses that are attending here today is that you probably have a network of locations that disperse all across KL, even Malaysia. And different stores might have different offerings or different catalogs being carried. So digital circulars allows you to customize that based on the geolocation of each of your stores. That's the first one. And the second one, you can show local pricing and availability based on stock and inventory at any given time based on the availability of that user's nearest store. For example, if I am in KL right now, or specifically in Bukit Bintang, and the nearest store to me is the Pavilion one, the availability of those selected products from that Pavilion store will show up in this digital circular. Whereas if I was in, let's say, Malacca or something like that, and there was another store that was nearby, that could vastly change depending on where my current location is and where I'm viewing the digital circular from. So this is how it looks like. It looks like a collection format ad, but it's curated based on the catalog and the location of the user and the stores that's nearest to them. So this is what relevancy means, right? From in the particular sense before, when it was personalized, it was more on your online shopping behavior based on the product that you're interacting with. Whereas this one is more dependent on where the user is and what is the user's geolocation, right? So creating hyperlocal relevance using store location features such as store set targeting. You can select a group of your stores to be included in your store set and target your ads to a selected radius. There are get direction and call now CTAs. There's dynamic local templates. So all of these things allow you to make it as relevant as possible depending on what are the users you're trying to target. And the case study we have here is Hudson-based company ran a digital circulars campaign, and they saw almost a 13 times incremental in ROAS, as well as an 11% omnichannel sales increase. So that's amazing results. Last but not least, it's really important to be convenient, right? Global survey respondents feel it's very important for online and in-store retailers to provide a seamless shopping experience, whether it's to be convenient located and offer various delivery options. So here are a couple of things that they see. You can see that convenience is number one, followed by proximity and then delivery options. Right, so how do we help businesses build on this is to help hybrid shoppers easily find products with local inventory and in-store ad overlays. So with this particular format, it's still in beta, but you can display local store availability and pricing for products browsed online, surfacing the closest store to each shopper. So now we're displaying local store availability products that are browsed online, and we're showing you where the nearest store is. You can indicate local store availability with in-store overlays to encourage convenient pickups, like buy online, pick up in store, deliver to me. So all of these options will be available as well. And these formats are available in the carousel and collection format. So this is going to be very, very helpful for a lot of these advertisers and businesses that are still trying to drive, a lot of these convert a lot of these online browsers or online customers that they have to go to in-stores as well, considering that the market has reopened already. Last but not least, all of these would not matter as much if you were not able to measure and track that progress, right? So this particular part of my presentation is going to be super, super important, because I can talk all I want about how much online influences the offline shopping behavior, but if I'm not able to track that consistently and accurately, a lot of the times you pretty much have to kind of rely on your store sales manager saying like, hey, has there been an uplift in sales if we've recently run online campaigns, and then you have to track month on month. So there's a lot more manual and tedious process. But today we have this particular solution that allows you to quantify and improve upon your hybrid strategies to maximize in-store sales. So what it means, like if you were to upload your external sales data, your offline sales data, you'll be able to measure and be attributed to your online campaigns, right? So by doing so, by connecting everything like your conversions API, your Metapixel, your Facebook apps SDK, and your offline conversions API, you're able to measure the impact of your e-commerce campaigns on in-store sales, right? So if you think about the first two parts, whether your pixels are implemented, your conversions API implemented, your app SDK has been implemented, all these things are pretty much normal to you. You're familiar with it. You can see every dollar that's being spent there converts to an online sale, and then that's your return of ad spend. But if you upload your offline conversions as well, now you can see the full funnel, right? You can see all your online conversion campaigns that drive online sales and offline sales. And you can measure and track what particular levers or what particular campaigns objective can drive more of the online sales or more of the offline sales, and which one has the healthiest return of investment, right? So how do you do this? There's a couple of things. For online tracking, I think a lot of people are familiar with already. For in-store tracking, it's uploading its offline event data with precise timestamps and actual transaction values. So the disclaimer here is that it's really, really important for advertisers or businesses to have some form of CRM software, because the only way they're able to match back all these offline events towards to their Facebook campaigns is if they had a loyalty program or a warranty program, anything that has some sort of PII information, for example, email address, phone number, and all these things is pretty much, the mechanics of it is that it matches back to the user's Facebook profile identification, right? So before there are any privacy concerns, actually all of this information is hashed, and only for the purposes of reporting that they're matched to showcase what the attribution of online campaigns towards offline sales is. Otherwise, you're not, from an advertiser point of view, you're not able to kind of export or break down who are the particular individuals that have seen your ads online and went to store offline. It's more of a reporting purpose only. So all the information is all hashed when they're uploaded to your business manager, right? So the benefit of this is that you're able to track that full funnel journey for online to offline, right? So these are some of the methods that you have. I'll attach this in the leave behind decks that I have, so you can take your time to look through it and whichever method suits you best. But it's really important to know that to embrace this hybrid shopping behavior that's happening with the consumers, you need to be able to track what your offline sales are, how your online campaigns are impacting your offline sales as well. So you measure incremental hybrid shopping outcomes with lift solutions. So I'll talk through very quickly these two lift solutions. The first one is a conversion lift, meaning Facebook allows you to measure the incrementality of the campaigns that you run towards driving, whether it's online sales or offline sales. And it's very, very simple in this, as visualized in this diagram, meaning there will be a group of people that are shown your ads and this group of people that are not shown your ads. And what they measure is whether this group of people that's been shown your ads, how many of them make a purchase, and this group of people that didn't see your ads, how many people still made a purchase. And what we're trying to see is the difference between the two, because that pretty much showcases what the incrementality of your Facebook campaigns are, and that is then exemplified as a lift, right? So for a geo lift, it's also the mechanics of it is fairly similar as well. The only difference is the test and control. Test and control is that you're collecting conversion data from the geographic areas. For example, if you have stores all across Malaysia and you want to measure, hey, how much of an incremental does Facebook campaigns have if I just ran ads in the western side of the Peninsula Malaysia, and then the eastern side I don't run any ads. From there you are able to see what a lift is and what the incrementality of those campaigns would be. So it's really important to adopt this test and learn mindset, because every test informs you of your next decisions that you're gonna make, whether it's driving or adding more budget towards your online campaigns, diversifying your channels. All these things, you're adopting a test and learn mindset allows you to optimize performance as well as scale programs that are surpassing your KPI goals. So if they're offline, like for example, if Advantage Plus shopping ads is extremely profitable for your offline sales, then you kind of want to scale that up and you want to run more test and learns. For example, like, does this audience work better for me? Does, like, extending the catalog size, that drive more incrementality? Does, a lot of things that can follow up from that one test and learn mindset. Right, so there's a couple of frameworks that are attached here that gives you an idea and some guidance as to, like, what sort of testing questions you can roll out for your business. For example, here will be adding local inventory and in-store overlay drive higher incremental omnichannel and in-store conversions. You'll measure your primary KPI to be incremental omnichannel conversions, and then the secondary KPI can be ROAS, and this will be some sort of two-cell study. So this is one of the examples that you can definitely test and learn, but there is no limitations on what sort of test and learn frameworks that you like to adopt. So next steps is to pass back offline conversions data to measure broadly, align our test approach and timing. Second one is to continue to test and learn and optimize performance based on your KPIs. So if in this case, total sales, whether it's online, offline sales is the primary KPI, then you use that as your primary KPI. And then you scale out these best performing campaigns based on the KPIs during key moments. So every time you finish the campaign, you want to kind of roll out to the next one, and then you further reiterate and change and make amendments depending on what works and what doesn't. Okay, so that signals the end of my presentation today. So I'd like to just thank everyone for their time, and I hope you drew a lot of value from this. I've left a couple of pitch decks attached to the booth here, so feel free to download them. They're externally shareable. So yeah, thank you so much for your time and have a great day.